Welcome back to the program. Wow. If you thought that the Minnesota scandal couldn't get any larger and crazier, well, then you were wrong. I am now hearing reports that it could be in Maryland, New Jersey, obviously New York, because there are some Somalis in New York, possibly Nevada, I'm hearing, Montana, all over the place. Okay? It's just growing and expanding. And before I kind of get into that, I wanted to share this with you. And actually, this is something that President Trump shared with all of us. And quite frankly, it's shocking. It's not shocking in the fact of the accusation, because I think we all have said and thought this exact thing. But the fact that the President of the United States actually shared a video about this, that's kind of shocking. So let me get to this here. It is right here. Listen to this.
Do you guys remember Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota state rep that had her life taken from her by Tim Walz's aide after voting to take away health care from illegal immigrants?
She was unalived in her home by Vance Bolter, who was later caught after a manhunt. He then sent a letter to the FBI and Kash Patel saying that it was Tim Walz who forced him to do it. Both Vance Bolter and his wife worked for Tim Walz for years in different states. Was Melissa Hortman unalived because she voted against a multi-billion-dollar money laundering fraud? The fraud that she voted against that heavily implicated illegal aliens, specifically Somalians, who have been racketing this kind of child care, health care rackets and cooperating with our corrupt government. And today it's breaking news that the money laundering scam in Minnesota of billions of dollars for healthcare offices, child daycares, Medicaid, and various forms of care agencies. These money laundering frauds have been exposed. And it all comes back to Tim Walz. I did what leader.
And so when you think about this, we remember what happened, right? It was early in the morning. This young lady and her husband were murdered by this guy. There was the manhunt. He was wearing that weird mask. And then it turns out that he left a letter. And in that letter, he actually implicated, I covered it at the time, he implicated Tim Walz in it, saying that Tim Walz told me to kill them. And that's what happened. Now, at the time, when they arrested him, they didn't do anything else. They didn't say anything about Tim Walz. As far as I can tell, the Department of Justice isn't looking into any other types of things where there was motivation and or whether the governor of Minnesota was involved or ordered the hit or anything like that. So it's interesting that the president of the United States would post that video on Truth Social. Now, I'm not saying that Tim Walz didn't have anything to do with it. As a matter of fact, I think it's a fair question. I mean, you're talking about millions and billions of dollars in fraud that he wanted to cover up. And this one brave Democrat member of the Minnesota legislature said, I'm not gonna continue to vote for it. And so by not voting for it and giving these illegals all this health care and everything else, she was made a target. So now we find out that this Delter guy or Belter, whatever his name is, Vince or Vance, whatever his name is, he not only worked with Tim Walz, but he also worked with Tim Walz in multiple locations and in multiple states. This is someone that was extremely close to Governor Walz. So it's pretty interesting that Trump would say that. Perhaps, maybe, now they're going to look into more of a motive, and who knows what could happen. Maybe he did order the hit. I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but I think it definitely warrants more investigation. Now, this scandal with these daycares and everything else, we never seen anything like it. I mean, this is just insane what is happening. And now, apparently, the SBA, so the Small Business Association, as well as I think our Treasury Department and ICE and many others, are now doing spot checks randomly on daycare centers throughout Minnesota as part of their investigation. Now, if they are doing that and there's no children to be found, what do you think the left is going to do? Do you think they're just going to say, sorry guys, you got me. I'm guilty. There's no children here. I'm running a scam. No, of course not. These are the Democrats, okay? They'll lie, cheat, and steal their way out of anything, right? We know that. So what are they doing? How about running Craigslist ads? That's right. They are running Craigslist ads for child actors to play children at daycare centers. You heard that correctly. Listen to this. And actually, for the thumbnail on this clip, this will be the thumbnail so you can all see it yourself. Daycare hiring child actors for 3-day contract. Okay? Hi all. My family runs a daycare center here in the city and have for over 5 years, until Monday when funding was ripped away without cause. Well, I think we know why the cause was, okay? Silly. Due to the insane decision of clear white supremacy, so obviously you can see who this person is, we had to close our doors immediately. Oh, really? Why? Were you worried that you didn't have any children? Now you're asking for child actors? So obviously you're admitting that you're an illegitimate daycare center. Why would you otherwise say that because you didn't get funding from the federal government, that now you had to close your doors immediately? Not, we have to close our doors because we're running out of funding. No, we have to close our doors immediately. Yeah, well, you're closing your doors immediately because you're fraudulent, okay? That's what's happening here. My goodness. We must prove that we are a functioning daycare to get our funding back. This issue is the entire client base has already found new daycare services, so we need to find new clients quickly. To help hurry this state vetting processes, we're looking to hire 20 child actors for the next 3 days while the state investigators are present on site. This is as guilty can possibly be. Would you agree? And by the way, I moved my microphone and things like that. I was getting some complaints that I was a little too low, and I made myself a little bit higher, so whatever. Let me know what you think of that, or if it's too loud, I don't know, whatever. And then it says, we will pay up to $1,500 per child actor per day. If you are interested, please send your child's age and a note of what makes your child a special actor. Submit your phone number as well, as we'll be doing a quick phone interview as part of our hiring practice. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to read this ad. They are literally trying to find children actors, paying them $1,500, you heard that correctly, to pretend that they are daycare children. The scam is out of control. And thank God SBA stepped in, said, we're done. We're not giving any more funding. We're going to have a whole new system for daycares, a whole new system for home health care businesses, a whole new system for medical transport. They're going to change it all. All of it is going to change. And I don't know. I brought up these two because, you know, there's a lot still going on with Minnesota, regardless of what's going on with Maduro, which I'm going to get to here in the next couple of segments here. But I just thought that I saw this ad and I was like, oh my God, if that's not fraud, I don't know what else is. You wouldn't have to hire people if you had real kids. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Insane. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.